What does confidence mean to you?
Confidence, simple but hard to describe. I think confidence is the ability and even tapping into joy of being exactly who you are.
Mine would be, and I'm only thinking of this in the last couple seconds while you're thinking, being able to say and do the things that you want to say and do without second guessing yourself or questioning it. Maybe I shouldn't say that, or can I say that? I wanted to say.
Yeah.
No, you just say it. You have the confidence to say it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people mix confidence up with people who are either
Bombastic.
Yes.
That is the anti-confidence. That is, I'm overcompensating, you guys, because I need to show something. Whereas I think confidence is also quiet confidence, and you just see and feel it in some people.
I was going to say it's quiet power.
Yeah.
Because you can't take that away from someone. When someone is confident, there's nothing you can do to throw them off their game. And that is very powerful.
And that's why some people are so threatened, because they like to take power so that they can feel powerful.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas quiet power and real confidence, you don't need to do that. You're just sitting in your power. And confident people, truly confident people, love to share that.
Yes.
And grow it in other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instilling confidence in others is one of the best feelings, because truly confident people, in my mind, are ones that gain that confidence from themselves, and they don't need it from someone or somewhere else. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Badassery. I'm your host, Christine Lozada, and today I'm traveling in San Diego, California, where I'm from. Everyday Badassery is a podcast weekly that shares stories from people that I meet or people that I know in the places that I travel, and it's really meant to inspire you to be just 1% more badass today than you were yesterday. Today's guest is someone that is so near and dear to me. It's someone who is one of the most badass people I know in my life. She's one of the most confident people I know. And what's absolutely inspiring about today's story is that we learn about how confidence truly comes from within, and it's the power within us to give back to others and help lift them up in their own lives. Alice, there's so much I can say about her, but let's bring her in.
I'm Alice, born Yambora. I am Christine's friend.
I love it.
Once upon a time was one of the clients in her kickboxing class where I first met you.
And
in 2008.
2008.
It's 2022
And when
now.
this woman walked into my cardio kickboxing class, for those of you who don't know, I taught fitness, group exercise for 20 years. It's a very long time. And I remember Alice as being the front row girl who looked like she was going to kill somebody. You used to have this look on your face where it was like, I ain't gonna mess with that girl.
Which is funny because I loved it when you told me that, because anybody who's intimidated by me for a moment, they start talking to me, they're like, oh, she's not scary at all. She's real goofy, and yeah.
You are very goofy, but when you turn on your intensity, you turn it on.
I am very intense.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah,
but I can also be very easygoing. Yeah. So I've always known you as being a very confident person, but were you born that way, and where did that come from?
You know, what's funny is I really believe that I was, because I didn't have anything that was being taken away from me as a kid. You just enjoy the simple things. Mm-hmm. I was really loud. I was born in Korea in 1984, and I was running around, and I moved to the States in 90. But all up to then, I was a rambunctious kid who always had torn jeans and striped t-shirts, running with the boys.
That was you?
That was me. And then I also wanted to have pretty shoes with a buckle.
Yeah.
But the first time that I think that went away was when I came to the States, because I became very insecure.
Why?
I became aware that we're different. I became aware that we didn't have a lot of money. I lived in a really dumpy place growing up, and I had no problem with it. Mm-hmm. And then when the awareness comes in, and then I literally stopped talking in school. I first went to SoCal, and then when I moved to Portland, Oregon, and became one of the only non-white kids, I got teased a lot. I used to go home crying all the time after being teased for being Chinese, Japanese, which is only insulting because they meant it as an insult.
Yeah.
And I like stopped talking, and I remember not wanting to speak Korean with my mom. I remember her talking to me going, Alice, it's okay to speak Korean, and I didn't want to.
Wow.
I didn't want that yummy homemade food. I wanted macaroni and cheese, and I just wanted to fit in. I was sick of anything that made me stand out, and I actually did stop talking for a long time.
That's really fascinating because environment, right? You went from an environment that as a child you were confident and comfortable in to one that was totally foreign, and literally foreign and different. And because now you had comparison points of you being different from others, that made you second guess basically your world.
Yeah.
That must have been devastating as a child.
It was, because I was also having like weird nightmares and such. It really did impact me in a deep way. But I think this is a lot of what immigrant experience is for Korean Americans, at least from what I've heard and talked to people about. And it's a huge mark of like what impact racism had on me. So we moved from SoCal to Oregon 3rd grade. It took 2 years, me getting into 5th grade, where I all of a sudden started getting in trouble for talking too much in school again. I started like...
Oh, that was real fast.
It was 2 quick years. And then that didn't stop. And then my confidence really started to grow as I learned things I was good at or things that I really enjoyed doing, like music and sports or dancing or like being with my friends. And then athletics really took over in high school, where the place that I shined, and again, it's comparison,
Right.
was in sports because I was naturally better at running in like track and field and cross country than other kids in that grade or that in school. So again, it's all comparison, but it did grow my confidence because I love that hard work in, you get something out. You don't need money for it. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's your body and performing with like your guts. So I loved that. And actually, that's what carried me through doing athletics through college. One thing that actually really grows my confidence is being good at something. Like mastery and getting expertise is a huge confidence grower for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's also because you're around like-minded people where you feel seen and heard, and you just start to kind of like stop comparing and just be. And just being.
I have a challenge question for you, though,
Yeah.
about that. Because I feel like when you're young, it's fine. Like, let's try something new.
Yeah.
I'm so new at this, but I'm going to gain my confidence as I gain my skill. But when we become adults, we lose that ability to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to fall on my face a bunch of times. As adults, it's like, I don't want to try unless I'm perfect at it. Like, I don't want to try this new thing until I already know exactly how to do it. And a lot of people don't like to learn, grow, gain the confidence, gain the skill.
Yeah.
Have you, as an adult, learned a new skill or sport or something?
Absolutely.
Oh, you have? Like what?
The running started young.
Which, a quick aside, when she says running, we're talking the girl who qualifies for the Boston Marathon.
Well, no, because I passed out.
The girl who almost qualified but passed out.
200 meters before, passed out.
But most importantly, when you came to... Oh, actually, hold on. Why did you pass out?
Because I was it was a hot day, heat exhaustion. What badass thing I did was I did cross the finish.
Yeah.
After I passed out. And then a few months later, I already did my next marathon because I was like, that didn't lick me. Because nothing's going to lick me. I might not qualify, but getting back in the saddle was important to me.
I remember, what were your first words when you came to?
I think I asked if I qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what you said.
And I just remember numbers made no sense. It was like looking at gibberish.
You didn't make it, but let's also just point out that you pushed yourself physically to the point of passing out, even in extreme heat, while trying to qualify. That in itself, a lot of people way beforehand would have called it quits and would not have gotten to that point. You are somebody, one of the very few people I know, that no matter what's going on physically, you will mentally push yourself through it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're very strong in your mind. All right, hold on. Bring us back to confidence. What did you learn as an adult? What skill or sport?
Swimming in open water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I didn't do it until my 30s.
Okay, hold on. share the swim that you do in the Bay Area.
Oh, so
This is a very special swim.
yeah, at Aquatic Park, which is right in front of Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco, where San Francisco Bay is by the wharf. I actually live, within vicinity of being there pretty easily. And the thing is, when my friends like, let's do this leg of triathlon, I'm like, okay, cool. I just say yes before I actually know how scary it is, because then I'm already committed and I'm just like, okay, now I got to learn. So we like swim in the bay with the sea lions, and it is sharky out there, although it's brackish water, but they never got me, and it's very rare. So.
It is sharky out there. Not only are there plenty of sharks in the bay, but it's cold. It's very cold.
Yeah.
But didn't you do the swim from Alcatraz?
I did. Yeah, someone took me under their wing, and I was all too willing, and I was like, it's uncomfortable, but you're uncomfortable for this long, and then you're doing something new for this long, and then at the end, it's pure euphoria.
So what's fascinating about that mindset is, on one hand, you could focus in on the, wow, I'm taking a ferry to what used to be a jail, and I'm going to swim across the very sharky bay. And you don't just swim from Alcatraz to the bay back to San Francisco. You have to swim at this unique angle because the current is pushing you so hard that if you don't swim at that angle, you're going to end up on a different part of San Francisco that may or may not be more sharky than the part that you're already at. And how long is that swim?
Depending on how fast of a swimmer you are. For me, I think it took like 40 minutes. I'd have to check.
What's the distance?
It's a little over a mile. I think it's like 1.1.
That is very far. So if you're not a swimmer, professional or non-professional swimmer, this is long. Swimming for 40 minutes is the equivalent of, I don't know what. It's the equivalent of drinking bottom shelf champagne.
Yeah. But I will say, I'm not a fast swimmer. This is not a place where I was like, look at me excel. It was more like, well, I'm learning something fastly next to people who are way better than me at this.
Yeah.
And also people who are good at this are like generations older sometimes.
Yep.
There's something really, really cool and fascinating about that. So it's not about being the fastest or the best. It was about doing it, period.
I love that. I love the mindset of focusing on, it's a little bit of hurt for a lot of happiness in participating. And it's not necessarily about like this hardcore competition with everyone who's there.
Yeah.
It's something that you're enjoying. Oh, I love that. Okay, so you learned to swim as an adult.
If I could add one more thing, the reason why it's so rewarding is not just because of people being like sporty and athletic. If you've noticed, a lot of people get into it after they go through something, or they use something like endurance sports to get through something, and accomplishing a marathon to raise money for a person who survived cancer, or after you survived cancer. These are really common stories. So it's about the human spirit. It's not about the pure athleticism of it. It's a way in which people like really find something and connect to something bigger.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Which I love.
I have a similar story to yours. So for me, I was the most shy, most quiet child, to the point that
Which is crazy for me to hear.
Right? That teachers thought behaviorally something was wrong with me because I was so quiet. But my parents were immigrants so you're the immigrant. My parents are immigrants. I'm first generation. And when they came to the United States from the Philippines, all they wanted was for us to fit in.
Assimilate.
Right.
Assimilate or die. That's
Exactly.
literally something people say.
Yes, exactly. So instead of them feeding me Filipino food, my mom made me a lot of spaghetti and Caesar salad or romaine with ranch dressing. Like, this is what I remember growing up eating.
Caesar with a K.
Exactly. A lot of Kraft mac and cheese, like foods like that. I never learned, my parents didn't teach me the language. They just wanted me to fit in with everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that was just, like, be quiet, don't speak up, like, don't draw attention to yourself, like, just fit in. And when I went to school, and where I went to school was, and actually these days the numbers are very similar, it's 90% white. And what was difficult for me was that I faced a lot of racism growing up.
We've never talked about this.
No. I went to a school with over 2,000 kids, and I was one of a handful of Asians. And so I was the Panda Express. I was I was teased every single day.
Oh
And I would even till high school was putting up with that.
Yeah.
And it was very, it's interesting because in hindsight, I didn't really realize how not okay it was because I didn't know a lot of other kids that had to deal with the same thing because I was the minority. And so I was very quiet. And actually, here's one thing. Now I have a very loud, obnoxious laugh that is,
Which I love.
which is very recognizable. Like someone knows I'm in the room because I laugh very loud. And when I was a kid and growing up, I used to always cover my mouth, and I always used to like try to silence my laugh because I never wanted to get any attention to myself. And it wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I started to truly gain my confidence. And where that came from was the world that I met you in, which is fitness. Yeah. I remember I had a day in which I was taking a group exercise class. I was in college. I was going to Berkeley. And I remember I was standing in the back, and the instructor walks to the back, and she pulls the mic aside. This is one of my mentors, one of the most beautiful, amazing, strong women I know. Her name is Kitina. She pulls the mic aside, and she goes, I need to talk to you after class. And in that moment, I almost walked out because I was like, holy crap, I am so bad that she needs to talk to me after class about like my performance in this kickboxing class or something. And I was like, oh my God, I was like dreading it. Class ended. I went to talk to her. And she goes, Christine, like, I noticed that you are so good at cardio kickboxing. I want you to become an instructor. And she's like, I am the leading person who teaches people how to become instructors for the entire Bay Area. And you know what she did?
What?
And this is really important because if you have a passion out there and you find somebody, you take them under your wing. I did that recently with drones.
That's what I said. I got taken under wings for the new things I get.
You gotta give it back.
Pay it forward.
She took me under her wing. She taught me everything she knew. She got me certified as a cardio kickboxing instructor. And so I was going to undergraduate Berkeley at that time, and she was going to the law graduate program at Berkeley. And she was about to graduate and then go become the amazing lawyer she became. And she gave me every single one of her classes at every gym she worked at. And so I was going to her classes.
She groomed you.
Yes.
She respected this so much, and she wanted to give her clients the best.
But you know what? The risk I took was I said yes. Because in that moment, I could have been like, ooh, like, I don't know. Because at that time, I didn't have the confidence, right? I even thought that she was telling me to wait after class because I was that bad. Like, what kind of mindset am I in that that's what I was thinking? And I realized that in that moment, like, we need to be taken under people's wings, and we need to take others under our wings, and we need the most powerful thing a confident person can do is help to give that confidence to others and raise others up.
Yeah.
Like, like that gives me goosebumps because there's too many people out there who are just ready to rip you down. Like they're all out there. Read some of the comments on some of my YouTube videos. Like they're just ready to take you down. And there's too much of that.
Yeah.
But when you have that, someone who will reach out their hand and pull you up, as soon as you're up there, reach down, pull up others.
Yes.
And it was in teaching fitness that I gained my confidence because I realized I could help people in a very fun format to reach their goals in health and fitness, to have a great time in a great environment and to command a class to do exactly what I wanted them to do safely, effectively, whatever. Yeah. And it was through that I started gaining my confidence. Yeah. And then that just kept going.
Wait, as you were talking, it made me circle back another part of what confidence is. Because we said it's about that inner power where you're like not afraid to be exactly who you are. And the antithesis of that would be fit in, blend in, hide yourself, make yourself smaller, fake yourself into being bigger, and I think once you hone that confidence in yourself and that inner power, the next natural step is to grow it in other people. Yeah. That is the natural next step. And the thing about power is it doesn't get taken away. it's infinite and you actually grow it.
Yeah.
And that is like the ultimate thing that you can do when you can grow that and harness that power in other people and not lose yours, but really it's truly just growing within yourself. I think that's what evolution of my life would look like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Okay, hold on. So we have to talk about the flip side. I have to interrupt to say, do not leave the scene of learning something without writing it down. The Badassery Journal is free and available for you. Link in the show notes below. I would love for you to journal along with us in all of these episodes and do something about it. I purposely do not turn on monetization on these videos. I do not put ads so that you can be more badass without any ads. All right, let's get back to it. Because for those who are listening, at the same time, it's like, oh, like, okay, you're confident now, like you're good for life. And it's like, nah, it doesn't work like that. Actually, can you think of a recent time you did not feel confident? I can.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of which one should I talk about right now?
I know, I'm like yesterday. One of the things I'm still gaining confidence around, even though I feel like I have a lot of confidence, is in flying drones. A lot of people know I fly drones. Drones are not necessarily a thing that's just easy. It's easy to fly and it's easy to not crash, in my opinion, but it's not easy to fly drones in public, because especially as a woman, and if you're watching today's episode and not listening, I'm wearing pink pants. Like, I am very feminine when I'm out there flying my drone, and a lot of guys have a lot of things to say to me because they don't think I can do it, or they don't think I know the rules, or I'm clearly not a certified pilot, but I am, like all the things. And so people want to say things to me all the time, and it's annoying. And
May I ask, what kind of comments, like to bring you down or to mansplain, like what?
It could be, yeah, like mansplain. Well, okay, I'll give you two examples.
Like tell you about something you already know way too much,
well,
compared to that person?
Well, recently, it was, oh, like, what are you doing on your phone? Like, playing games? Because, like, a guy was trying to talk, he was trying to hit on me while I was flying a drone. I was literally sitting on the curb of a random street. And I just didn't, I looked up at him, realized he was talking to me, and then just went back to what I was doing. And he was like, oh, you're flying a drone. Do you even know what you're doing? And I just looked at him and I shook my head and I just walked down the street. I was like, I ain't got time for this.
No time
or
for this.
Another one would just be, and I'm not saying this is all older people, but there are a lot of older people who think they know all the rules in an area. And it's like, you're not allowed to be flying a drone here. And it's like, do you know if I can be flying a drone here? Because actually I was talking about this today. In the part of San Diego I'm in right now, there is a 5 mile by 2 mile radius in which you cannot fly a drone, but there is like a 1/4 mile by a 1/4 mile box that you can. And I went and got my certification, so I'm able to go get my ability to fly in that small little area. But not everyone knows that you can. They just know in this general area you can't. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, yeah, I have all the permissions, blah, 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 but I'm not going to explain that to people. But they're just going to tell me that they know better than me. And that's fine. They want to think that, that's fine. But we ain't talking about it. Okay, so flying drones for me is one. And a lot of times I find myself saying, okay, like I'm looking around, do I want to fly here? Who's going to give me a hard time? But I force myself to do it every time. Because if I don't flex that muscle of confidence, just like any muscle you have, it goes away. Because next time I'm in that situation, if I chose not to, I might choose again and be like, nah, that guy's probably going to give me a hard time, because he is. Mm-hmm. But it builds my muscle if he does give me a hard time and I respond to it. Because then I get better responding every time. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you what Lou told me?
What
so
did he
Meatball,
tell you?
for those who've watched my episodes with Meatball, Meatball's my boyfriend. He's
Meatball.
From the Bronx, sounds like he's from the Bronx. He's like, this is what you got to say to them.
Oh, gosh.
Yo, I don't mean to be a dick, but. And he's like, and then you just let it ... trail off, and then they just go away.
Wait, you can just apply it to anything. It's universal response.
Oh, yeah.
I got to work on my delivery, I'm pretty sure. Because
I think I need to go
I might sound a little different than Lou.
I need to do 1 octave, like, lower.
Yo, I don't mean to be a dick, but... Ooh, could it be like a hard stare right after? I find that looking at somebody intensely and nodding a little gets a lot of people really uncomfortable and to like do something different.
Yeah.
Compensate in some other way.
Oh, I like that one.
I haven't really tried it out so many times. I've more so witnessed it.
Let's practice it tonight. I'm gonna actually. So tonight we are going out and about to the nightclubs in the Gas Lamp in downtown San Diego, and building my confidence in the club is one of the places that I built the most confidence, because this is a place where people act like a bunch of mother effers, and it's a place where you can play with your confidence. Let me give you a perfect example. When guys hit on you in the club, and you can gently push them away, but sometimes they're very aggressive about it and like not nice about it. And if you turn them down, they will say or do mean things.
Oh yeah, those are the worst.
I agree. So when I find hostile ones like that, that's when I practice my confidence muscle. And the saying no in a way where you stare. And so like, let's say like, I know you're alone anyway, let me buy you a drink. And I'll be like, no. And you just hold it.
I love it.
Hold the stare.
The beauty of these tips is like,
And it's uncomfortable.
remember.
Yeah, and you just keep holding the stare until they realize you just stabbed them through the eyeballs with your eyeballs, and then they go away.
Oh, I'm going to use this because I'm like notoriously like, oh, I'm just being chatty and they're nice. I'm like, why are you talking to this person for 15 minutes, Alice? He wants to get into your pants. I'm like, really? I don't know. Maybe he just wants to talk.
Oh, wait, here's a good one for that one. It's a you're like they think like they're onto something good. You've been very sweet to them, and you realize that this might be going in the wrong direction. I do the no, but thank you, and then I smile, but I keep looking, and they realize that is closure, and then they go away. And it doesn't have to be a rude or mean thing.
It's not. It's just.
But it's very hard, and if you're listening or watching this, I encourage you to try it. Say no, hold the stare, but most importantly, do not say anything else afterwards. This is one of the biggest things I learned in negotiation classes, is once you've made your point, don't do the, like touch their shoulder, or like no problem, like whatever. Like just say no, and that's it. Don't say anything else. And it's generally very effective. Okay, but hold on. Let's get back to you.
Everything.
What's yours? A recent time you had to flex your...
I had to flex mine. I think this is when I was having a difficult time where one of the things I'm actually working on, like despite being like a confident person and having self-esteem, I also really love to people please. This is just me like being vulnerable and sharing something that I do.
Yeah.
And I realized most of it is just me because I love my people, and I'm constantly wanting to nurture. And then other times it's to avoid being a bitch or to avoid offending somebody. And when you were talking about saying no, it actually reminded me the two things I am working on that is more specific is no, period. And an attachment to that is I sometimes when I say no, I finally say no, I over-explain that as if I need to, but I don't.
Are you explaining it for yourself or for them?
Sometimes I have to say it out loud to make myself feel better about saying no. Other times I truly feel like I'm going to tell them exactly why, because there's no other way that it could have been the other way around, and I'm really sorry, but no. I'm like, no, I actually am just actually choosing. We're all prioritizing and making decisions, right? So I go, I can't, I'm not available. Rather than, I would love to, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make it up to you. I like, no.
Yeah, just no.
So, that like goes with like not people pleasing, setting boundaries and saying no and honoring myself, which I realized that saying yes to too many things actually takes away my confidence because it means I don't trust myself. And if I'm not my biggest consult, like if I'm not the person that I can go to all the time, then we got a problem here.
Ah, yes. Oh, like, that's powerful.
You can counsel with other people, but you need to be able to come to you. And one of my favorite sayings is actually by Oprah, whom I love, is doing the right thing is rewarded by peace. Not happiness or joy necessarily, but just inner peace that you did the right thing.
Fire.
And that's just all, I think what we're saying is like, it's all inside.
Yeah, inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Which just explains why bombastic confidence is actually not confidence.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's really not, because that type of confidence needs to constantly be fed by something external, whether it's that person successfully put someone else down, or that person has received some kind of outside reinforcement that helps to continue to lift them up. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. That's really powerful. I think it's interesting because there's this theme of how with confidence, it's an internal thing. But at the same time, you and I gained our confidence because others who had that originally, in whatever way, swimming, for me, fitness, someone helped to pull us up. And that can be passed on. And that power of confidence isn't something where my light is turned off when your light is turned on. It's my light lights your candle, and then we both shine brighter together.
Yes.
And that's really important. Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Yes.
Woo! Okay, hold on. I know how I want to end this. If you could go back to the moments in which younger Alice was not feeling confident, what would you tell her now to help give her a little boost?
That actually makes me kind of emotional because on my birthday recently, I looked back at like pictures of previous birthdays I had, and I was a little girl, and I thought about all the things in it, and I wanted to go back and like hug her and tell her, "You're gonna be okay. You're good." And if I were to describe the things that I feel are like really wonderful things I'm grateful for and worked hard for, all the above, I think that would sound really amazing. I think the thing would be, and it's classic, you just have to be you and work on your own inner skills. Work on your own skills. I think validation from the outside is what kind of ruins some of the confidence you lose and gain during teen years or your young adult years, and so much to prove, like you're starting a career. But truly, if you really stick to your guns and stick to like being true to you, there's just no better outcome you can get. You can be a lesser version of somebody else, or you can be the greatest version of you. And if you're getting real good at yourself,
that's a good one.
like there's just no stopping you if you're the person propelling you.
Yeah, that's fire.
There's a limit to try to be like anybody else. There's a finite limit.
You can't be that someone else.
No.
That someone else is already that someone else.
Yeah.
You can only be you.
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the things I always think about is if there's somebody that I believe in to be able to do the thing that I'm willing to bet all my money on, it's got to be myself. Because
Yes.
I am in complete control of myself.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't bet
Anyone
my money
else.
on someone else. Like I might know them very well. I might have a lot of confidence in them, but I am not them. And if you are not willing to bet on yourself, there's some work that needs to be done. And I'm always willing to bet on myself. Actually, I'm going to answer a different version of the question I asked.
Yeah.
So the thing that I tried something new as an adult, and it was painfully difficult, which is learning to become a creator, right? I've only been a creator for about 3 years, and in that time, I've been able to, and right now I'm playing a comparison game because really I love, I come from Walmart.com and Amazon. I love analytics, and it's easy to figure out where you're performing versus others.
Yeah.
But basically, in the grand scheme of creators I know, I have been able to build an audience and traffic of someone similar doing this for 10 to 12 years.
That is amazing.
But it also was amazingly painful to learn how to do it because every step of the way was brand new for me. And during this time, it was especially painful because I came from doing jobs in the corporate world that I did for over 10 years. I can do it with my eyes closed. You want me to build a
you're so
business
good at
plan? You want me to build Excel spreadsheets of like whatever? I can do it with my eyes closed. And now all of a sudden, I am Google searching how to, and then fill in the blank with whatever I was trying to do, like how to edit a video.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, how to do sound design, how
So
to
humbling.
edit oh my God, it's like how to cut the video, how to trim the end off of a video, how to export a video. Like, oh my God. It was painful, but one of the things that I did was I created my badassery wall. And what that was, and actually, if you don't know Travis, Extra Pack of Peanuts, he is doing a badassery wall after I podcasted with him. But it's, you write down all of the most badass or powerful moments in your life that you're very proud of. What are the things that you've done that you're just so proud that you did it? You know, like for me, it's like I moved to New York City. I became a creator. I don't need to go through this list. And it's a whole wall.
Because it's too long.
It's a whole wall of sticky notes.
Yeah.
And I actually had it on the inside of the closet at Meatball's house. So I would open the closet door, look at all of them. I would read some until I started feeling good about myself. I really believe in you can move and shift your mind when you move and shift your body. So I would read some. For me, I would do 20 push-ups right there on the floor. And then I would grab a Post-it note and I would write one more. I'd force myself to think of one more badass thing I've done or something I'm really proud of, and I would add it to the wall. I'd close the door, and then I'd go do the damn thing that I was struggling with or losing my confidence about, which in the past used to be creating these videos. It's not easy to spill your guts and share your life story.
For everyone to either be touched by it, impacted by it, or to like critique.
Yeah.
It's brave.
The critique part. There are going to be people who are listening or watching this today that are very moved, who literally this is the hand that's lifting them up, or this is the step that's helping them to get to the next level of their confidence. And there are going to be plenty of emails, DMs that I get of people just being like, your story sucks, like, F you. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of it. And I have the confidence now to be like, well, that person's life probably sucks if they have time to spend hating on someone like a troll. Whereas it's like, it's so worth it for all the people you do help.
Can I share one like side note
Hell
that is
yeah.
anecdotal?
Ready.
I was listening to audiobook by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she was talking about how she wrote a novel. She got a lot of criticism, and she was talking about haters. Mm-hmm. And she said, that's just part of life. But if you're critiquing me and you're not in this arena, as Brene Brown would call it, go make your own fucking art.
Yeah.
I just love that because it's kind of like, hey, haters, like go do your own thing. No one is making you be here. As you were talking, I was thinking about two things that came to mind because as we were talking about a lot of this, I think we were talking a lot about internal strength. Mm-hmm. I actually really believe in the power of asking for help, which I've asked a ton of. I used to always go inward and do things because I am super resilient. I can do this. But I was also starting to become a very anxious person and so preserved about certain things. And the connection actually helps you get there faster. Not get there, but get there faster. So I have tapped into direct coaching. I've tapped into therapy and just tons of information that you can get off of books and podcasts. So getting help from the external parts, it's a huge thing that people should like to tap into. And then the other thing that I think makes people more confident is being comfortable being uncomfortable. Because when I say yes to things that I know are hard, it's me going, I'm going to be uncomfortable and I'm okay with that. It's going to be super hard, but I'm okay with that.
I love that.
And that actually grows that muscle.
I totally agree. That's solo travel for me. Solo travel is at so many times so uncomfortable, or you find yourself, you always find yourself in some kind of situation or challenge or problem, and you only have you to figure it out. Yeah. And yet I always get myself out of it, right? And it's just like, when I go on these trips, it's not like, oh God, what's going to happen this time? It's going to be like, which misadventure is going to happen this time? I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
And I also think about asking for help. That is so important. If you are confident in yourself, it's okay to ask for help. Too often we think that it's a failure when you need to ask for help, and that's simply not true. And one of the things I love to think about in times where I'm like, I don't want to ask for help, it's like, just ask for help, is even people like The Rock has a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Right? Even he has someone. Like, we all need someone who's coaching, helping us, lifting us up, whatever it is. And it's okay to have help, ask for help, etc.
The best athletes have coaches.
Hell yeah. All of them.
And trainers.
All right. So you don't know this, but my closing question to the podcast is always, are you a badass? I already know you're a badass. So actually, hold on. I would love to do a cheers to a commitment. So I would love to challenge myself to spend, if you're listening to this, we are recording this in December 2022. I want to make sure I am reaching down and pulling someone up in 2023. And I want to think about how intentionally I am going to make sure I do that. There's a lot of things I create and do all the time to do that. But I would say, and I would love for you to do the same thing. And I'm trying to think of how we can make sure we both accomplish this.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's been a long time since I've had a mentee. So I always make sure I have one mentee under the wing in whatever it is. Before, I always had one mentee in the corporate world helping him or her to lift themselves up and climb the corporate ladder. I did that in drones, but I feel, you know what? I know what it is now. I'm going to find a way to help someone who's been wanting to explore solo travel to confidently go forward and do it. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I am committing to taking someone under my wing to help them do that. Are you willing to commit to something? What is it going to be?
I am. I actually committed to something, but this is really going to formalize it.
Oh, I'm ready.
I have been very, very, I've become closer and fond of my community and my neighborhood. And there are so many times at which I've gotten so much from the community, so I want to give back. And in particular, I was telling you about this earlier, but my senior citizen neighbors, I want to foster more of a relationship where I can give to that, because there's a lot of seniors in my neighborhood. I live by Chinatown, and my neighborhood just has a lot more like older generations who have been living there for decades. And it's actually, I always think doing something that pays forward is actually a service to yourself. You get so much out of it. It's like that power becomes bigger and it grows bigger, and you actually figure out, oh, I thought I was helping, but actually I'm really helping myself and they're helping me. And so that's what I would like to do as part of the community that I serve, in addition to what I've already committed to before, like family, friends, and the nonprofit that I like to volunteer with and whatnot.
Cheers. Thank you for doing this with me. I think you can see why I love this woman. Alice is amazing. Be prepared for more episodes with her on this channel. If you enjoyed it, please leave a review. It really does help to distribute this to more people. Don't forget about your Badassery journal, link in the show notes below. Connect with me on social media. I would love to hear how you are reaching out your hand to pull somebody up. It's one of the most badass things we can do. Give it back. Go forth, be badass. We'll see ya in the next one. Ciao.